the George Washington University, at the intersection of policy, practice, and research, connecting all that Washington has to offer with an intellectual environment that drives progress, transforming vision into action, offering learning experiences that are rigorous, real-time, and real-world. In a city shaping the future, George Washington is a place where faculty and students don't just study the world, they work to change it.
Welcome one, welcome all back to EGFC. I am, as always, Keela Miles, joined again by Soy, where we are getting ready, getting hyped for what looks to be the highlight match of the night. George Washington University, who came into this season hoping for a lot of big upsets, hasn't really quite gotten them against the bigger teams, against one of the bigger teams, the University of Colorado.
Yeah, this is really kind of the testing ground for both of these teams because it's like you said, George Washington has had a really difficult opening schedule to start this season, and the Buffaloes are in that kind of back half of it. But the Buffaloes are a team that are, on the cusp of a championship. They were in the finals of the Independent Conference in Season 2, and they were in the top 4 at the end of last season. So if George Washington can keep pace with this team, that's how you know they're on track.
Rip Van Winkle against N right now, and N opening up with some hot stuff. They're going to be stacking up 67%, and now they've got them off stage. Oh, that connected. It was a kill. But some good drift from Rip Van Winkle to avoid that, and they're able to land the volleyball to get themselves back on stage, but they can't stay there for very long. Can't mix up your landings at all with no platforms in the way.
And against Robin, too, this is one of these characters that thrives on the ledge trapping, so that corner play that Rip Van Winkle thrives off of can't really continue to use that method here.
And there's that back air. Oh, man. Youth Trainer back air, I'm slowly starting to believe is maybe one of the better back airs in the game. It's a kill move, it's fast, and I feel like Rip Van Winkle uses it so much. But not able to get the deep breathing online that time. Fishing for the landing back air, not going to find it. And they're able to block the arc fire this time, so it prevents the initial combo starter, but they still get caught in the end. They go deep to try and capitalize on ends looking past the ledge right there, but they're not quite able to finish the stop.
I like the idea from N to go out there, but Rip Van Winkle just catches him overextending, and that's something that Rip Van Winkle really thrives off of. Oh, went for it again. Does he have enough? No, he doesn't have enough to get back. And that's a huge stock off the board for George Washington.
Yeah, as now, Van Winkle able to just batter back all these projectiles, doesn't even care. Lands with it that time just to give an additional mix-up to Rip Van Winkle, who actually gets drained as well. All their hard work undone. They're having so much trouble approaching at all. And as you called out, the corner play is not working in their favor.
Could be a huge opening, but Ian gets out of disadvantage again, and it just feels like it's so difficult for Rip Van Winkle to get anything going here.
Yeah, I mean, definite opportunities every time they land one of these, but it's not just stray hits. Oh my gosh, the shield poke! The 2 hits of that smash attack, that shield endured so much punishment right there. Being hosed down, cracks began to form until eventually the slam down from the forward smash was enough to finish it off. I cannot believe how long it lasted though, Soy.
Yeah, I used to have a friend who played Robin, and that is the classic setup. You are stuck in your shield because of that side B for so long. It feels like an eternity. You want to move, but you just can't, because if you drop your shield, you're going to get hit. It's just, you're stuck in that stun, and that down smash pokes through so much of your shield. It's just such a good setup, and it's something, again, that Rip Van Winkle, he loves to play these corners to play his style, but against Ian on this Robin, who thrives off of ledge trapping, he can't afford to stay to these corners like he did in game number 1.
Yeah, Ian right there. maybe didn't quite switch the stage like they meant to. But either way, yeah, I can't imagine going back to Final Destination because I feel like Wii Fit Trainer does benefit from the stage, but not enough that having literally no options off the ledge, I mean, it's brutal. You just get punished again and again and again. You're getting ledge trapped from center stage with the thunder coming out. I mean, what do you do, Soy?
I mean, even the soccer ball, which is a huge part of Wii Fit Trainer's kit, just gets mitigated by every single projectile Ian throws out there. So I think the key here, my guess would be to go to a smaller stage. You know, force those boxing interactions, because even though Robin is scary, he's only scary for so much time, and it forces him to, you know, think about his projectile usage more rather than just instantly go to the ledge.
I like the use of crouching, as Rip Van Winkle knows this is going to have to be a slower paced game if they want to get their mileage. Back air to shield, not quite safe. Going to end up off stage, and they eat the Arc Thunder way out there. Oh! Ian wanted that so bad, but they're not going to get it.
It's also important to remember Rip Van Winkle did kind of SD one of his stocks away, so he has to play a lot more carefully here, and that match ends up being a lot closer. But you can tell great utilization of the full stage here between these two.
Rip Van Winkle stands there beating out projectile after projectile, and then they finally get up to try and have their turn play, but no, I don't think so. As footstool into Spike. Is Rip Van Winkle dead for that? No, they're able to get the mash, get back to stage. I was like, oh my word. Oh my word. Okay. Getting the forward smash shield break. And the 69% on their first stock. The end. On pace to maybe get that cleanup you were talking about.
That was huge, and look at the quick 24 he gets just off of 2 forward airs, but Rip Van Winkle, again, once he's pushed to this corner, there's just not a ton he can do. Every option just seems to be, you know, getting beat out by something, especially in the corner, but this is a huge opening for him. If he can land this ledge trap, maybe, no, great get-up attack.
Yeah. Ooh. Starting to get a little dicey for Rip Van Winkle. They need to get this stock off soon if they want a chance in this set. You don't want to be playing from behind with a character who you've barely been able to trade with. Like, they're trading with each other from halfway across the stage. And Ian is okay with that because Rip Van Winkle is at such a deficit.
Really is. And, oh my goodness, nearly losing his stock to that forward air too. There's just so much for him to overcome. He can't even grab the ledge here. That's a dangerous air dodge, and that's another utility burn as that neutral air cleans up the stock. Ian is on fire right now.
Yeah, they are. And, well, they doused a bit of the flames with that absorb. Now, even though Rip Van Winkle is able to get on stage, Ian still keeps them feeling like they're on ledge with how much they pressure these corners. Ian doesn't even want to try and take center stage because it makes so many of these projectiles unreactable.
Ooh, great get up there. You know, dropping from ledge and throwing the book, just another projectile that Rip Van Winkle has to worry about. And every bit of damage here on Rip Van Winkle is huge because if Ian holds on to the stock, that's a massive lead for Colorado.
Ooh. Hunters create a wave, and there you go. 2% to get a true follow-up off of it. Again, tries to go for the read on the spike. They're now pressuring against this shield. They go for the second one, but this time Rip Van Winkle is ready.
Yeah, ducking under, and that down tilt was able to connect, but now we're in danger territory for Rip Van Winkle. Near 90%, and now near 100. That's kill percent for a character like Robin. Great duck underneath. And I know he's used that a couple of times, but it just looks so silly, you know? Well, that doesn't look silly, though. Oh, my.
Oh, maybe a little bit silly. You think you can approach for the first time in forever, and then you run right into the arc fire. Probably the most reactable projectile that Robin has. That's going to hurt. Oh, quite a bit as a bit of a mosaic there, Picasso. But either way, University of Colorado taking the early lead. I mean, to be expected by seeding, but not how George Washington wanted to open up, especially as Rip Van Winkle is one of their hardest hitters usually.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is something too, right? Rip Van Winkle, he's typically going up against some of the anchors of a lot of these rosters, but Ian feels like he's kind of one of the newer players to this Colorado team, and he has stepped up in such a huge way for the Buffaloes. I mean, against one of the heavy hitters of George Washington to get 6 points on the board, that's a huge win for the Buffaloes.
Yeah. All right. We've got some new. I mean, I love to say heavy hitters, but they're not. These are, just as strong as the rest of them. We got Zerosion coming in from Colorado University, and I did like Cranberry. Cranberry was definitely one of the most improved players so far on George Washington, and they were doing even more of that based on their performance last week. We'll see how they're able to do that against them now. I mean, against Zerosion, though, it's going to be tough.
I mean, if we can recall from last week when Colorado won their set, the player that I believe AIV called out as one of the kind of up-and-coming stars of Colorado was Zerosion. It was this Samus that he said this kid's got some talent, and so this is going to be kind of the telltale sign of how good is the depth of this roster too. Because Cranberry is another player, like you said, he's kind of on the rise. He's had his moments where he has these solid victories, but he also hasn't hit that next level. And Zerosion, I feel like, is on that same wavelength where he's close to competing with some of the heaviest of hitters in the league, but he hasn't quite secured that big victory yet. So this is that statement type of matchup that is really pivotal for both of these schools.
100%. And I'm excited to see it again. Yeah, the Roy has been phenomenal. There's no other word for it, but it's very easily shut down. You can't let them get into your head too much, but when your approaches are constantly being shut down, obviously Cranberry wants to try other things, but every single option is beaten out. Not even a scratch on the armor yet. And you've got to make every touch you get count. If this is any indication, if you get a jab, it has to be 60% because that's how much you keep using the neutral.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel like it's kind of a similar size. Zerosion doing a great job of just keeping Cranberry out. And that is kind of one of the telltale signs of sorties that they do tend to struggle against projectile characters. But again, it's like you said, once Cranberry gets in, he can do some damage, but Zerosion, look at all the pressure and the ledge trapping he's done here.
Zerosion. And now they get the Nair tech chase. Optimistic read right there allows for the dancing blade, but the Nair on shield is not safe. That's the second time Cranberry has been caught trying to pressure the shield like that. But there's the conversion that they were looking for. They've got them off stage. Not quite able to poke with the down tilt, but they're fishing for the Jair. And they land it. The slightest tap right there off stage. What can they do with it? Erosion, drifting back. Go for the forward air off ledge, but it's interrupted by the sword. Cranberry right now has the advantage for the first time.
Good forward air from Zerosion to get back to center stage. And Zerosion's defensive play right now is really telling. Cranberry wants to find these hits that Roy is so used to getting with his speed, but he just hasn't been able to land anything solid yet.
Yeah, that really is. Dancing Blade once again. Cranberry has, definitely will even things out, especially as you get that stock. As Erosion is not nearly as dominant as they were in the opening to this game. But that opening spree of dominance, even if they keep it even for the rest of the time, still might be enough. But the Nair's carrying them across stage. Now things are starting to look dicey. Cranberry heating up.
Yeah, I really liked Cranberry there. Not only did he get his combo, oh no, the down B tripping up Cranberry off stage, and Roy's recovery, not the best in the world, so down a full stock now to Zerosion.
It's the grab, but Roy is fast enough to get in there and punish that tether. Ooh, I like that jab on shield instead of going just for the nair, as has been punished previously. Some good bit of adaptation, jab back air. Versions off stage, trying to dash around, trying to bait an option. Down air off at ledge, that shows Zerosion might be fishing a little bit, might be panicking. Need to clean that up, or Cranberry is not going to let you get away with a grab like that. The grab's instantly being punished by Cranberry, even on Wi-Fi. It's beautiful. Again, another grab punished.
Yeah, it's huge right now, and Cranberry, he's starting to catch on too, because we saw the run up forward tilt to clean up that last stock, but now this is a huge opening for Zerosion. Great air dodge back to stage, and he nearly turned it around on him.
Yeah, pushing for the up air, but again, as I said, even if Zerosion keeps it even the entire time, it still may not be enough. But we're above Cranberry again. Goes for the back air to shield, not going to connect it. There's the grab, but they're in the air. They couldn't punish it that time. Not able to get the 2-frame. That down air after the 2-frame attempt is very constant, as that time the space is not quite good enough. You're going to be caught by the up B. Again, I love the dash dance. Try and bait an option right there. Dashing back, but well, not enough. Zerosion has him on stage, charging up that neutral B. Not going to be... Ooh! The down B refresh right there might have saved their life, but the up throw is getting close to killing. Cranberry has to be careful. Charge shot, brimming, about to overflow. Erosion laying down their traps, hoping to pop them up again. The shield being pressured, but Cranberry is still able to get a hit.
Both playing so carefully right now. I mean, at 160, that's a huge conversion. Doesn't get the back air, though. Instead gets the forward, and he's hit by the charge shot. Zerosion will take game one in a nail biter.
Soy, I can't believe from downtown, literally, they got the they.
Yeah.
I get it. You're in those high pressure situations and you're considering every option. You've got the variables flying around your head, but not all of them. You don't think about everything while you're going at it like that, as is evident by that happening.
You know, I have to wonder in that sequence if he was kind of eye-trained on watching what Zerosion was doing and then realized on, like, the dash back that he didn't have time to get the shield up. You know, if it's one of those things where the animation of the dash just lasted too long for him to realize what was happening. But either way, I mean, Cranberry did a great job adapting in that set to keep things close, right? Because Zerosion was on fire at the start. But all of a sudden, it just, chipped away. It was death by 1,000 cuts, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, it was less death by 1,000 cuts and more a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
As it really did feel like Cranberry turned it around in a huge way, and suddenly Cranberry getting stray hits was Erosion only getting stray hits. But even when you're playing from a lead like that, it's okay if you're only trading like that because you're still maintaining your lead. Up until the end where they were off stage like that and they get the surprise finisher. Because you got them way closer to kill percent, you kept trading, you made sure for every victory they got, they suffered a cut. I feel like it was more Zerosion with the death by 1,000 cuts than Cranberry.
Yeah, I mean, the way these two play, it's so entertaining because it feels like these two characters just kind of beat up on each other. Like the minute they have an opening, you can tell Cranberry's in on 40% for Zerosian, but then all these projectiles just make it so difficult for Cranberry to get in, and you saw it, whittle away at him last time.
Look at this. Erosion definitely slowing down the pace of the game again, but again, the fact that Cranberry, when they're grounded, they always get a punish on the grabs, I think that is one of the big turnarounds here. It makes Erosion so careful about how they use that super impactful tool.
Those run-up forward tilts from Cranberry, too, have been so scary for Zerosian, because Cranberry doesn't have great opportunities to use that move because of all the projectiles, so when he's able to threaten that option, it's such a scary place for Zerosian to be.
Oh! That was a surprise option right there. We were setting up maybe something the standard forward air, but the up tilt is actually going to steal the stock, and up air into up air into up air? Okay, 35%, alright. You got me, Zerosian. And they're able to mix up landing just a bit, but it's not enough to trick the wary Cranberry. Send them off stage again. They've been trying so hard for that 2-frame, but it's just pressure at the end of the day.
Yeah, Cranberry does not have a real good edge guard answer, but he is able to find a strong hit of forward air to clean up that stock, so things back to even here, or relatively. A little bit of percent for Cranberry. Look at the follow-ups, too.
Yeah. Down tilt pressure at ledge for dashing away, inviting an option. Not going to give it to him, though. Zerosian still going to range off stage, though. Cranberry's ledge trapping has been impeccable. It's so nebulous what they're going to do next.
Look at Zerosian here, just kind of stalling out a little bit off stage, just waiting to see what Cranberry will do, waiting for an option. But Cranberry's patience on these ledge traps is impeccable right now.
Yeah, they go for the attempt at a jab, but it's not enough. Instead, they're actually going to be able to DI out of that forward air, not eat as much damage as you could, but Zerosian's starting to even things up. Not off stage, though, that's crucial. Zerosian has been impeccable at landing.
Great parry. That backer's actually going to get the kill, and Cranberry with his first lead in the match.
Yeah. Here we go. Nair. There's the starter. There's the opening. Cranberry. They know they can get a point on the board here. They can feel it in their gut. And into this game, too, you've got to get some mileage going. Zerosian on ledge. Going to be able to escape. They beat out the up B out of shield with a clank? I don't think I've ever seen that. But either way, it interrupted it as well as anything else. But similar story as before, being caught by that charge shot in their dash. They're dodging down the platform, but they're going to be caught by the forward air in the end, one stock to one.
Yeah, huge opening for Zerosian to take that stock and now give himself a chance on this final one. But in the corner, this is dangerous. He's eating so much percent, and Cranberry, you saw how quickly he can get kills with this character.
Yeah. Ooh. Getting the grab right there. Not overextending too far while those bombs are on the field. Oh! The neutral B is option coverage right there. Don't get the 2-frame again, but instead, they just wait. They're like, choose an option. I dare you. I'm standing still. I have access to every single option. As falling up air, 147. Anything will kill. The back air will do it. And Cranberry sends us to a game 3.
Once again, very tense there, but I think Cranberry is starting to catch on to some of the actions of Zerosian. It just feels like one of Roy's strengths as a character is to just not give your opponent time to set anything up. And that's where you'd say, okay, well, the projectiles should buy Zerosian some time. Cranberry has done a very good job of limiting the space that Zerosian has to work with. And once he gets in, it's 40%, then another 40, then the kill. Because the just raw kill power of this character is incredible.
For sure, Soy. As it also just feels like once Zerosian is in this advantage, they are struggling to get out. Not for lack of effort, let me mention. They are mixing up their landing with B reverses, with movement with their down B. Slipping and sliding all through the air, and yet Cranberry still manages to hit the target home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and on top of that too, it's not like Cranberry has great edge guard capability, especially on Samus, who can stall out. So it really comes down to the ledge trapping, right? The ability to threaten so many options. Cranberry's positioning every option that he threatens, and you think of ways that Zerosian can get back to stage, and it just feels like he's going down the checklist of it, saying, okay, this is what you've done, before. I think you're going to do it again. And he's, I don't want to say in his head about it, but it's certainly making him think longer about it while he's on the ledge.
Yeah, I do think the speed at which Cranberry applies pressure is something to note as well. One thing I love is how it's sudden swings with Cranberry. There's no curve, it's a spike, as they immediately jab, 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 down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, and then they just watch. And by all rights, Cranberry could just neutral get up and shield, neutral get up and roll. They could do whatever they wanted. But they pick an option, because they're still trying to come down off of that roller coaster ride of jab, 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 down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, forward air, upper, upper, falling up air. And then when there's suddenly nothing, and you've been trying to get out an option that entire time, sometimes it just comes out, and you are in position to get smacked for it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a kind of a mind game, but it's a very good mix-up, because like you said, you're trained to watch your opponent and react to it, see if you can catch an overextension, but after threatening all those options and then just to have them stand there, everything they can cover, and yet you're kind of stuck in quicksand, it feels like.
Yeah, as get the tether cover to the ledge, Cranberry definitely cleaned up their game, the pressure on shield. Cranberry, they're getting the tech chases. They've got their awareness peaked as well as it can be. This version is not going to make it easy for them, not in the slightest.
I think Zerosian, one of the things to look for is that use of the up tilt. That up tilt's going to cover the platform on this stage. And remember, it was able to take the first kill in game number 2, but it also did not get the kill later in that game. He got the spike hitbox instead. So the spacing of that move, I think, is going to be very important. And speaking of spacing, took too long to get back to stage, and Zerosian falls first here.
That is another thing about delaying your recovery a bit too long. Gonna hurt you big time. As Nair on shield, not gonna be an up B. The drift was enough that Zerosian was not confident in that out of shield option.
Great weave there from Cranberry to get around those down Bs, but Zerosian will be able to clean up the stock, so things dead even here in stock number 2. Cranberry,
I feel like they've had a lot of little innovations here, but Zerosian is finally starting to fight back, as now they've got them at ledge. No way to react and punish to that grab when you're all the way in, but there was the overextension. Now Zerosian, because they went off stage for that greedy down air, they're the one who's getting knocked around again.
And it's like you said, oh, that was a huge down air from Zerosian to turn that scenario around. But it's like you said, just the one overextension is all Cranberry needs to just push the momentum back in his favor.
Ooh. Uppy out of shield will be enough when you don't space that correctly. And dash attack, not going to kill quite yet, but the bomb interrupts the recovery. Keeps them on their toes. Not going to be enough for a shield breaker. And the roll behind Dancing Blade, all right. Conversion down to their final stop.
I actually really liked Cranberry's recovery there, up being into the bomb, because if he tries to air dodge around it, he just gets caught again. He loses his stock here, and things go back to dead even here in game number 3. This is very tense for both of these players.
I love the use of the Zaire to make Cranberry think twice, but the Nair carrying them off stage. Erosion now on ledge, but they're almost able to get off. They're actually able to be on stage for once, Soy. And even though you're in a tech chase scenario, Erosion, a breath of life in them. Look at that, though. 90% Cranberry stocked that up so fast. Trying to put the brakes on now.
Huge opportunity for Cranberry here. One more time. Can he find Erosion getting back to stage? Another huge ledge trap. Here we go.
It's so bad. The falling up air. The spike, though, did not have the charge shot offline, just threatening it. Up the outer shield, though. Is that a punish? No! Not quite getting the whiff punish that you wanted, and waiting for the tech in Cranberry. Ooh, this tightrope, it's getting shaky. The wind's picking up. Erosion playing center stage. They're going to get caught by the back air, sent out. Cranberry is not going to overextend. They can't. Not at this crucial junction. Pushing for the back air, and there it is, the forward tilt. Finishes it off. A nail-biter through and through, but Cranberry gets some points on the board for George Washington University. Makes this look a whole lot more winnable going into this game 3.
A much needed victory, I think, too, for Cranberry, because after the way that first game went, it was a huge momentum swing for him, and his adaptability throughout that set was fantastic. I think Erosion right there was just kind of a slight misspacing at the end. He gets back to stage down Bs, and then I don't think he has quite the startup on, I believe it was forward air he was going for to get back to stage there. But, I mean, great reaction by Cranberry. Again, just time and time again, once he had Erosion in the corner, he just made it so difficult for Erosion to get back to center stage.
100%. And I feel like, as funny as it is to say, even though Erosion was not getting the opportunities too often, it was their overcommittals and the lack of overcommittals altogether from Cranberry that really gave them the win. Like, Cranberry, the way they pressured the ledge, as I mentioned, jab, 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 down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, and wait. Never overcommitting, letting them make a mistake. Meanwhile, Erosion would get some really nice ledge trapping, but then they would go for the down air off stage. They would try and get a read on the recovery. I felt like the only times Cranberry would overextend was on some frankly silly stuff, like jumping in with side B and getting up B for it. But even then, that's not a terrible punish if you are Erosion.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, think back in that third game, I believe it was either the last stock or the second to last stock, where he goes off stage, tries to go for the nair or down air off stage, and ends up eating, I think, 60-ish% for it because he overextended and got back to ledge. That ledge trapping from Cranberry, I think, really was the pivotal piece, the key to this matchup, and it was really very well done by both of these players. But just that one aspect turned the momentum in George Washington's favor.
100%. And now, let's see, who do we got coming up next? Because we are only partially the way through sorting through this. Jacko 83 against Katsuji. Oh my. This is going to be a slugfest. I think much more than that last one was. Because, let me double check. Yeah, Jacko 83, to the best of my knowledge, that's the extremely proficient Terry player. Honestly, reminiscent of Moat to me, who we saw earlier today, which is a massive compliment in that they are just very consistent. But Katsuji got a win over Mr. L last week. They are on fire, and while they're Sheik, no shade Katsuji, but every time I've seen your Sheik, they have lost. The Luigi, on the other hand, got a win over arguably one of the best players in the entire league. So, ups and downs. I would hope in this crucial match they would go with the Luigi, but I will not blame them if they go Sheik.
Yeah, I think Luigi has an easier time dealing with Terry, just in terms of the openings that you could get, and it's a lot scarier to go Sheik against Terry because Sheik can die a lot earlier in this matchup. But Katsuji is one of these players that for Colorado, he's massively impactful. Last season, he was one of the stars of this team, but this season, I feel like he's kind of taken a back seat, and it's mostly because he's had such tough matchups. He's had Mr. L last week. Who else did he play? In week one, he beat he lost to Darth Wampa again. That was week 1 against Hawaii, and then he played against Yosefu for Mississippi State. So it just feels like the points that Katsuji are getting, it's a little more consistent, but he's going up against really like the anchors or the stars of these rosters, and it's been so difficult for him to really shine. This is one of those moments where Jocko 83 is a younger player. It feels like if Katsuji is really going to be put in that upper echelon of players, this has to be a set he should win.
He really should, because it doesn't matter how high your peaks are. The sign of a good player is consistency. It's having an autopilot kid that can win you any day of the week. So see if Katsuji can do that here against Jacko 83. Because Jacko 83 is no pushover, as you can see right there, instant 47%.
Yeah, and I mean, quick 77 too. Like, this is one of those matchups where I feel like Jacko. I don't know who controls the pace more between these two, but these are two characters that really, they only need one opening to get to those kill percents.
Yeah, 37, 30 already, but 130. It's getting a little harder to track down this stock. Optimistic read right there, incredibly optimistic, and that is going to make you eat a little more percent. But Katsuji's not out of this yet, but not by any means. And that's an overcommitment off stage right there. Hard punished by Katsuji, sent off stage.
Big opening. That's going to be the side B from Jocko, and that's going to clean up stock number 1 of Katsuji. That's a huge opening for him. And look at the quick 37 too, right back.
Yeah, all right. Able to keep things going, 78% already, but this is where Katsuji was able to stick it out a little longer. Can Jacko clean up the confirms, or will Katsuji be there with it? Go online now for Katsuji, and you know they want it so bad. I mean, why wouldn't you? Our guys are not going to connect, though, and the option is going to get them punished out of shield.
That was a huge turnaround for Katsuji. Air dodging away from the power geyser of Terry. Will lose his stock there, though. A little bit of an unfortunate landing from Katsuji, and down a full stock. This is a lot of pressure for him.
All right. He's pressuring the shield with these up airs. Katsuji can definitely bring this back in a heartbeat. But Jacko 83 not going to make it easy, especially when you're caught air dodging in like that. So there's the grab right there. That's an opportunity for damage. The air dodge in there not covered. Katsuji happy to slow down the pace just a little bit, though.
Another good up smash, but that's not going to get the kill quite yet. And the drift of the up B, not close enough to the ledge, so Jocko kind of giving Katsuji a chance here.
Yeah, Katsuji, I mean, it's the Luigi stereotype, but just one grab, and you're being carried across the center of Pokemon Stadium, and that's the game! Katsuji is able to turn that around after being behind for so long. I mean, I in my defense, I did say I didn't want to stereotype, but Katsuji, did you really have to prove me right as soon as I said it? Really? Are you kidding me, Katsuji? You couldn't have pulled that out earlier?
Incredible. But here's the thing. That all starts because Jocko SDs. He gives up that stock at 40-ish%. And remember how I said this is one of those sets that if you're going to put Katsuji in that upper echelon of the league, you have to win these games. You can't give a good player like Katsuji second chances because they will take them and they will run away with them. I can't tell you how many times it's come down to something like that for Katsuji, and he's done it almost every single time.
Yeah, not only do they take those, they will grab you by it and pull them down with you. I mean, it is... You just get dragged into another level. Like, again, consistency. That is key right there. I feel like that might have been just a little bit of a warm-up, but Jacko83 did definitely, again, reminiscent of how Moat plays, where they just get the jab, the down tilt, into 50%, and kill. They win through 3 interactions. Katsuji does not, but they can win through 1 interaction. And the fact that they showed that is going to force Jacko83 to show a lot more respect going into this second game.
Yeah, and I think the key here for Katsuji, if he wants to try and clean up this set without dropping any points here, is the defensive options, right? Because if Jacko's only going to win the game off of those 3 interactions, it means you have to win so many times, which is really difficult to do. So if you make yourself very difficult for those interactions to happen, then it really puts the pressure on Jacko to make a play.
In the interactions, did you see how Katsuji was going for wavelands on that platform? Do you know why that is? Because Jacko kept escaping with air dodges in earlier, so Katsuji is like, do it. I dare you. I dare you. But this time, Jacko83 does have go, and they're able to get the landing with it, but it's not safe on shield.
Good grab. Is this the stock? Maybe off the ledge trap. Jacko's gonna have a difficult time getting back here. Yeah, that's a late up B and not enough in the tank to get back. Katsuji with a big early lead.
Dash attack there. I mean, we say big early lead as if this is not the lead that Jacko83 had in game 1. Crack shoot's gonna stack up a little more percent, but Katsuji is able to get off the ledge scot-free. That was a wacky angle that they got sent at right there, but Katsuji's gonna be doing fine for it. Not gonna get 2-framed or anything like that. As I like how Jacko83 does not overcommit with an up B or an aerial landing on platform or anything. Giving respect to Katsuji's out of shield options.
Jacko really wants this kill. That side B shows it, but again, he's got to play so carefully here now because Katsuji's just kind of chipping away at Jacko.
100%. Now, trying to get back to the stage. It's terrifying when you see a good player stand still and watch you throw out options. It gets in your head because while what you're doing may technically be correct, it's like seeing them make a face at you. Oh, that's a good kill confirmed right there, though. Maybe a little too late, but 1 fireball, 1 dash attack, and you do have go online. Katsuji's dangerously aware of that, though.
Great recovery. Great recovery there to get back to stage. Needs a little bit of percent for the Cyclone. And that was another huge recovery, but he gets pushed to the edge once again, and not enough in the tank once more. Katsuji's ledge trapping on point today.
Gonna be caught there. 32%, and you're on ledge. Holding on the platform is interesting to me. Kind of just lets Katsuji run right away with it. As there's the grab. Down air, down air, down air. They missed the spacing just a little bit. Good SDI from Jacko83. Able to use that side B as the extender. They've got to make good use of their second least on life. But only 1 down tilt right there. Not the instant reaction with the side B. Enough. Can they make this work? Jacko83. Playing with fire right here by not being able to pull the trigger now. You have go online, obviously, but they've not landed it once. And the back air. As the finisher, Jacko83, they came in playing hot, but Katsuji slowly, steadily lulled their way back into the lead. I mean, you called it, Soy. If they wanted to be considered in that top echelon of players like they once were, they needed to win that.
Yeah, that was a solid performance. I mean, Katsuji's like the ledge trapping was on point, and you could tell just as that set was going on, it felt like Jocko was kind of running out of options. You could tell things like the slide off side B from platform couldn't quite get the kill, wasn't finding those openings that he was in game number 1, and that's just smart play by Katsuji. After taking what you learned from game number 1 and applying it into game number 2 to close that out.
Yeah, It really did feel like it's sad when you see a player who looks so good and then they get deconstructed so hard they look like any generic Wi-Fi player. Like, I loved what Jacko83 was doing in game 1. They just weren't allowed to do it in game 2. And because they weren't allowed to do it, they were forced to rely on their safer special moves and very, very short strings of like 30% at most, which is nothing for Terry. And again, it just, when you take away all the personality, when you read it like a book and you're like, all right, you're not getting away with this, then you're left with the tools everyone uses. And while they are good tools, they are the tools everyone uses. So, well, Katsuji was more than ready to finish off that Terry and get some more points on the board for the University of Colorado. 8-point lead right now for them.
Yeah, and that's huge, right? Headed into set number 4 between these two. And we knew coming into this that it was going to be very back and forth, but for Colorado's victories to just have that little extra oomph, right? That little extra, I mean, it's basically just to have those 2 stock victories on the board. That's massive in terms of points. Through 3 sets, those 2 stock victories, I mean, you take away one of those stocks either place, and all of a sudden George Washington, by winning one more set, is basically tied again. But now it takes a perfect game for George Washington to tie to go into the final set. Now, again, not out of the woods for either team yet, but you can see why playing for your stock is so important in this format.
Yeah, George Washington, they have always hyped themselves up as good against teams carried by a couple good players because of how consistent they are. But when you are consistently good, but not always amazing, then you've got some issues. So we'll see if they're able to clean that up here. Oh, we got AIV coming in early to try and just finish off George Washington University, kick them while they're down. Going up against Hooks. Hooks, not a pushover by any means, but AIV, I haven't seen them drop anything yet.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup too. Kind of 2 characters that tend to really beat up on their openings. And Hooks, we only saw him way back in week 1, but this is a very different type of player he's going up against.
Yeah, his AIV, plays his own game and plays it correctly. They're able to get the initial damage out, and they haven't given up anything. And what can Hooks really do to challenge them there? They're trying to whiff punish. They're trying to just hit them. But eventually it's just a landing nair that gets the first hit. And if that is the story of the day, then Hooks has another thing coming.
These side Bs, when AIV is off stage, this is where a lot of the pressure is going to be on. Hooks knows that he can get this Ike off stage, but AIV's side Bs, the spacing on them is so pertinent, and he does such a good job with them. It's something to watch throughout this match.
Ooh, very delayed recovery. Holding my breath right there, honestly, is AIV. Forward tilt to send him off stage. I like that. Oh! Reading the instant jump into them. All you need is one mistake, and now Hooks has an opportunity here. I would say Hooks is still at a very significant disadvantage, even being a stock up, but that stock means a lot.
It really does. And at 151, you have to think he's working on borrowed time, so any percent he gets on this stock is huge.
And now AIV is actually having a surprisingly hard time getting these kills. Oops. Hold on a minute. Maybe he has something cooking. Forward air is going to kill off the top right there, but not before you got Ike into what could basically be kill percent for Incineroar.
That was a huge stock for him to take, and now here on stock number 2, it feels like the momentum, it's like you said, it's shifted into Hook's favor, but AIV with stage control, this could be dangerous. Great back air.
Side B on the stage, not going to be countered this time. Up he out of shield though. We'll get some more percent on. Trying to get a read on the approach with the up smash. Not enough though. You have him off stage, dropping down with the back air right before you try and go for that super armor recovery. And bait an option out of shield with that short hop, but it's not going to be enough. They really, really want this counter. And could you blame them, Soy?
It does so much work for Incineroar, but AIV is starting to scout it out. This could be the stock. No, great job by Hooks to survive there, and now a huge opportunity once again. AIV keeping him to the corner. That's going to be the stock, though. The last hit of Nair cleaning it up.
Yeah, I was like, that sword. I thought it was gone and done and dusted, but not quite yet. His last stock to last stock. Rolling Whip not going to quite connect. And I like how there is a lack of super committal options. There. That is where you use it to pressure the shield. AIV wasn't ready with the up B on launch, and I'm not sure if it would have connected either. Dash back gonna be grabbed. Juggle scenario right now, but they don't take the bait.
Big opportunity here for Hooks. He's done a great job of turning his defensive play and turning it around and punishing AIV, but now AIV in the corner. Oh my goodness, that's just gonna kill! I'm in shock!
Yeah. I mean... Soy? I've never seen AIV drop it like that. I mean, drop it like it's hot. I mean, you're going against a fire type, so it makes sense, but like, still. It honestly reminds me of... There are a lot of characters out there, specifically heavies, but in some other games, like Captain Falcon and Melee, for example, they lose again until they win. And it just happens. It's like characters like Luigi, who need that 0 to death, but once they get it, they get off hard. And then, like that, you lose, you get juggled, but then you teach AIV they have to respect the fact that you can't get the revenge out of the juggle. The juggle isn't true. You teach AIV that they have to respect that. But then AIV tries to follow your lessons, and you're like, psych, because you didn't juggle me, I'm gonna hit you. And it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I have to give credit to Hooks for that match, because I feel like he did a very good job of playing defensive, but it wasn't just playing defensive, getting around a lot of AIV's openings, but also immediately being able to turn it around. He would do something, he would roll away from forward tilt or something along those lines, and then he'd immediately say, okay, this is the optimal place for Ike to go for a forward air or something along those lines. Let me beat him to the punch. And he would turn the scenario around on a dime, it felt like. And it's something that I feel like Ike really does well as a character, but it's Hook's the one who is really doing it.
And you would have seen my face right there towards the end as I saw what the counter pick was. Yoshi's story gonna be it. Now this does scare me because, again, Ike does do amazing on this stage. Woo! Not getting quite the hitbox we wanted though on that down air. Ike does do amazing, kills off the top super easily. But what if you don't? What if you don't kill off the top when you have the opportunity to? They wanted the 2-frame right there, purposely missing it. A rolling whip sends AIV off stage, and they don't get the tech. AIV down the stock because of down air once again.
I'm just in shock. AIV is typically so on point with those side Bs. For Hooks to read him like that is something else. And then immediately, I mean, you can tell with the taunt, Hooks is feeling confident, but AIV, it's like you said, this stage is just so good for Ike that it's just, even though he takes that first stock, it feels like AIV still has all the momentum here.
A slow walk forward. Nothing ever been scarier. Back air to parry is not going to be enough, but they go for this. Again, not going to be enough. This little chip damages though, and AIV, we've seen it before, could be in kill percent right here. Going all the way up, I love that. Using the up B super armor to get out of there, and then you platform cancel. You've got them on ledge, but AIV is wise enough, wary enough to know to go above Incineroar, not into the big counter and cat. Holding on for the time being.
That ambitious option of the up B is going to get punished, and look how much mileage he gets out of it. 58 on the hooks is massive on his last stock. 81, he's pushed to the corner. This is big.
That's not going to quite kill yet, but you can see Hoax was hoping it would. Holding the advantage for the time being. With the rage, I was terrified that was going to kill. The up B being your main landing option, it's going to be called out eventually. Hoax needs to win it out before AIV figures out how.
Off the top, I like that mix-up. Typically going for the clothesline instead, but this time opting to just send him off the top and make sure that stock is off the board. That's a big back air. AIV with all the pressure in the world here.
He's walking, waiting, not overcommitting. AIV knows what one overcommitment could mean. One overcommitment could mean everything. Because if you get hit by this side B here, you're in kill percent. Hooks knows it, AIV knows it. It's all about the spacing game. Now, there it is. Yep. AIV on their counter pick, able to bring it back. Not easily, though. Definitely hard fought. And I'm curious now how you start to come back to that, how you start to counter pick against that. Because Yoshi's, again, the fact that up air was such a potent kill option, it made you commit to some truly punishable options. But not unwinnable for Hooks.
No, not by any means. I'm curious really to see where Hooks opts to go. Part of me thinks, it's weird because Incineroar, when you don't have the disjoint of a sword, right, it makes it hard for those characters without that disjoint to really, make plays because swords just occupy so much space, right? But you have to find a way in, and Hooks did really such a good job of it in game number 1. And in game number 2, AIV just had full control. It felt like Hooks found his 1 or 2 openings to turn things around, but AIV did just such a good job of controlling stage. So I feel like you need a weird kind of middle ground where you need space to work with to get around the sword, but you also don't want it to be an enclosed space like Yoshi's story because I can get such early kills.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like Incineroar definitely wants platforms. I think that's a given. I think they get more out of tech chases than Ike does. However, that's why I'm hesitant to say something like Town and City, Because I feel like in theory, they would love Town and City, get some very early kills with side B. You don't have to worry as much about the blast zone up top. You still have to worry about it, but not as bad as Yoshi's. But still, I just don't know the character well enough to get the bans. What I do know is how to read the chat, where I know we're going to small battlefield instead. That I like.
3, 2,
Yeah, I think this fits, the kind of the middle ground that Hooks would be looking for. He's got just enough room to space around that sword while not having to worry too much about dying off the top to that Ike combo. So game 3 here in a pivotal one for George Washington. They have to win this one in order to keep that chance of having a victory alive.
Extending the combo, double up air. More than Incineroar's usually getting. AIV very charitable. Side B to get back to ledge, but the Nair catches the side B onto stage, and they're going to not let Hooks get away with that for free. Falling Nair, going to be punished. And not a lot of true hard punishes that they can do. AIV, again, could go for an up B read. As I say it, That's what they go for. But you don't want to overcommit to anything that could kill you. Did they steal the jump right there? All right. AIV has to stock up.
That's a huge stock for AIV to take. I think Hooks actually burned his jump countering, thinking that AIV would hit him, but either way, AIV now, look at the presence. He just controls stage so well, and Hooks, here's an opening for him. That is going to be the stock, so AIV's first stock off the board.
Goes for the narrow shield, but good enough spacing from AIV where they're not going to get punished for that. Side B charge there, you can't challenge that. You got the range online though, but it's almost more of a curse than a blessing because you want to use it so badly. So you get a little predictable with it. They get the side B in the end though, not with the revenge. Dash check not quite going to kill, but you saw how deep AIV was going. They wanted it badly. Not going to get the 2-frame either though.
Huge opportunity now for Hooks. He knows he's at kill percent, and any of these stray hits from AIV should do the trick. That Nair not going to kill quite yet. And Hooks, every opportunity he gets is a second chance here, and AIV able to make it back. That's another huge stock. Hooks has not really had the opportunity to edge guard like we saw in game 2.
Parry into side B. Not going to kill quite yet, but that is a very early side B in the blast zone. Hooks actually has AIV on the ropes right here. Bouncing it up and down, but that, woo, they fall out of it. But the up air is enough to finish it in the end.
Good quick reaction from AIV, recognizing that up B, he was going to fall out of it, quickly gets up from ledge, and then uses that up air to take the stock and that recovery. Clutch again using that platform.
Trying to slowly take space with these forward airs, and they get the grab. All right, now you've got one stock to one stock, even game against an invulnerable like for a moment. AIV's not going to get a ton out of it though. Oh, they actually counter out of the up tilt. Right now, shield pressure with that revenge, and they get the grab as well. 61%.
Ooh, I like the attempt to try and call out AIV's recovery, but it's a little too far forward. Hooks now. This is a big opening for him. AIV woo, with a lot of percent on, and it feels like AIV kind of swinging for the fences a little bit.
AIV, the up B off the ledge right there. Is that enough to kill? No, the air dodge in will save their life. Going straight to ledge, no risks right there. You don't want to give revenge over and make it so anything will kill, even a throw. There's some nice bread and butters. AIV still very doable for them. You saw how well they zoned out in game 1. Can they do it again? Parry right there, but not landing on stage, so they're doing fine. Another parry. Is that it? The side B? AIV sent off the side of the stage, and Hooks is in this yet. University of George Washington, or George Washington University, is still in this yet. A winnable game. They have been wanting this upset all season, and now it is within their grasp. I can't believe it.
What a huge turnaround too, because Hooks has all that percentage on AIV at the start of that stock, right? It was like 18 to 90 something, and AIV turned it all around just off of one combo and then a few other stray hits, and that was the challenge, right? Is how does Incineroar, a character with not a whole lot of range, get in on this sortie? And right at the end, you saw the perfect spacing on the Nair, right? Parries that Nair, gets the side B off, and catches it before Ike can land and do anything. And he was on point with every single one of those up Bs. It's one thing to, or not up Bs, side Bs. It's one thing to just, try and, react, right? You land the side B and, sometimes you miss the spacing of it and he goes off the top instead of off the side. Every single side B was a clothesline except for the one that went up, the one up angle that took the stock. Every single one was intentional and very well done to Hooks.
Yeah. What was also intentional, though, I think you mentioned this earlier too, was dropping it, setting up into the spike. But what I also love is when they would drop it when they were near ledge, being like, come on, pick an option. And then they would try and catch them without a jump off stage. And then you'd be able to get the kill. Games like that, it's what really makes Incineroar another beast. It's similar to what I was saying with Little Mac earlier, but I think Incineroar's tools, I don't want to call them honest, that's not the right word, but you have a little more agency with them. They don't rely as much on punishing someone else's mistakes. And I feel like Hooks definitely showed how much you can get off of that. Now, we're going into this last game. University of Colorado playing from the lead. They can't get the minimum points. They need to at least get a 2 stock if they want to win, especially if they are going to be dropping a game in this Game 5. University of Colorado, as long as they get it to last stock, last hit, last stock every time, they can win this through a war of attrition.
And this is similar to the scenario we saw last week from Colorado, right? They had the lead, and all they had to do was kind of stop the bleeding, you know? Even if you weren't going to win the set, just mitigate the amount of points that these heavy hitters can do. And George Washington, this is the true test, right? This is, you know, we talked about all the depth of this roster, how many players on this roster feel like they can, you know, step up. The question is, who does George Washington send in with their backs against the wall here against a big, you know, challenger type team of Colorado?
Looks like it's going to be Ken Manito. And that's interesting. You're going up against one of the starters for sure, Slatty. Been consistent for a long time, the Pokemon trainer. You know him, you love him. Ken Manito has been a little more of a question mark at times, you know?
Yeah, Kimonito is 1-1 on the year. He, I believe, that's the Rosaluma for George Washington. But last week was his first loss, and it was to Linny, one of the most consistent players for that Wichita State roster of the Mega Man. So a lot of pressure on these two. And again, Kimonito, I believe he's one of the new players to this league, so if he can make a play here, this is a huge win for George Washington. But Colorado, like we said, all they need is to just stop the bleeding.
Could be a massive turnaround here, but it all depends on how you play it. Immediate lead for Caminito. Getting this ledge trap online. Jab pressure. Slatty has to consider carefully. It's an entire mind game in and of itself, doubled. Just trying to get off ledge, and you separate Rosa from Luma during that combo. Don't worry about any of the counter hits whatsoever. Slatty thrown off stage, and I love that. Just using the crouch to space, and now you've got Luna with the rapid drop falling down. You can't recover. Slatty dragged out into the abyss. Caminito immediately has a lead.
That's such a huge opening for Kimonito, and that's something that's not very easy to do, right? But it's something Kimonito has really worked on. As Rosaluma, you have to have those setups on point, and the drag down, and getting Luma to fall off the stage like that is such a huge opening, especially on a character like Ivysaur, whose only recovery is that grapple.
Setting up a tech chase situation with yourself, but Caminito isn't able to quite follow up on it. Very aware, though, of how much their lead means right now. Luma sent to the Shadow Realm. Caminito has to play without him for now, but the Nair interrupting the path of recovery perfectly, but going for the downer right there, that's not the lingering hitbox he would have wanted. Caminito now on ledge is able to get a little bit more space to play around with for themselves. Slatty, though, is slowly figuring out how to approach with these Razor Leaves, but eventually they misspace it slightly. The forward air going to catch them. Ooh, very big slide off right there.
I like the idea there from Kimonito. He used back air as he slid off the ledge, trying to get Luma on the way back to use that back air to kind of extend the hitbox, but he ran out of his jump, I believe, and Kimonito's not ready for it, so he loses his first stock.
And you've got to get at least 1-2 stock if you want to win this out. They know that. They've got to be playing for it. But you've also just got to play to win. If you get in your head about it, it could be all over. They really want that. Parry and a dash forward up smash. All right. Caminito, they're fishing for the kill hard at this point. Rapid jab here. 149. Alright, you got them pretty high percent. It's going to be a regrab, I believe. They weren't ready for it. The snapper at the ledge is hard to punish anyway, but either way, Caminito dropping that golden opportunity.
Ooh, great switch to get around that up air. That's a very good up air from Luma. And dipping low, getting the kill. He loses his stock for it, but that's a huge stock for Slatty to take.
Alright. Now you can't be getting up in here. You've got to grab that right there. One after another, you build up the percentages. But Slatty being able to get that trade is crucial. That was the best stock trade you could have asked for.
It really was, especially knowing that they needed 2 stock on the board somewhere. And if Slatty takes this stock, it makes the comeback for George Washington that much harder. So Kimonito, all the pressure in the world on him.
Dash check there, sending them up. Slatty. Oh boy. A lot of damage being racked up. By these Razor Leaves, they eventually get the dash grab in. Luma actually pops Slatty back up, making the recovery even a little bit easier since Caminito wasn't even there to punish. And now Charizard, king of the burst options right here. King of the hitboxes. Can you make it work? Not going to hit the 2-frame, not going to get the ledge punish either. Has to let them off in the back air, going to finish it. Caminito going down. Now, Caminito, this is still a winnable situation. They either need 2 stocks in a row, or a 3 stock and a 1 stock. But still, that win was so huge, especially after you were playing from behind for most of it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge comeback for Slatty, and the spacing on that back air was so close. I mean, you saw how close Kimonito was a couple of times, how all of his setups were connecting, but he just didn't have quite the percent that he needed for it to kill, right? Even at the end of that stock, right? He gets Slatty up to that high percent, but you know, the combo from right to left can't quite connect on the back air to get that extra percent. It just feels like Slatty was slowly, creeping his way back in, realizing, hey, I got to be more careful. I know that Rosaluma's setups take some time and placement of where to be. I just got to be more spatially aware, and he was able to, take advantage of it.
100%. And you can see thinking very carefully about these counter picks. Going to be taking us to FD. Taking away the platform extensions from that Squirtle, which got them so much damage previously. But still definitely keeping one of your major advantages, which is that ledge trapping. I mean, FD probably the strongest ledge trapping in the game. So, I'm curious how they're going to be able to play around it, because they only really got huge ledge traps in the beginning. Slatty was starting to figure out the ways through the gaps in the defenses towards the latter half of the match.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go as well. On top of that, too, I have to also commend Slatty for his ability to get rid of Luma, right? That takes off so much kill power from this character. And just Razor Leaf after Razor Leaf is one thing, but it wasn't just Razor Leaf. It was things like down tilt. It was, the spacing of things like using Flood with, or not Flood, Squirtle Neutral B. Just anything to kind of mess with Kimonito's spacing was really well done in that first game.
As immediately, it is actually going to be small battlefield, like you said. And they're going to be called out, and Slatty does not want to play with that Luma. They're like, no! I want it! Get it out of here! And even though they do get hit with some stray damage from it occasionally, Caminito keeping this even. Starburst right there. Not going to be enough. Or Star Bits, rather. Set up right here. 81%. Now they're looking for the kill with this Ivysaur.
Good forward air. And oh my goodness, going down with them. Slatty cleaning up that first stock. I love the aggressive play.
And the dash attack, not going to be enough. Ooh. Oh, sending Luma out in a big way right there. Trying so hard to get the 2-frame that you don't have to worry about even being contested. And honestly, a lot of good shield pressure from Caminito right there. Up smash, Raw in the center of the stage. Not enough though. End up being caught by the Charizard. And the Flare Blitz? Oh, we had one person get salty about that earlier. Caminito can't let that get to them though. Playing from behind like this. Flatty. It feels like they're starting to get the edge though. The edge that Caminito had, maybe from matchup in awareness in the beginning, it's evaporating as Flatty has adapted. And even though it is a relatively even game, they would need a miracle right now to save it.
Yeah, it's very difficult right now. Caminito, he's got to find an opening here and find a way to take this stock because Charizard just thriving at these high percents, it's so dangerous. That Flare Blitz that he landed too did so much work. Not only did it get Caminito up towards this kill percentage, but it also got rid of Luma as that's a well-spaced down air from Caminito to seal away stock number 1.
Push them off, but down throw right there sets up a good up air situation. Not going to find it, but Luma sent off stage. Less landing options for Caminito now. Down throw. And they connect it. Yeah, going all the way up for the Vine Whip. Flatty. That's how much that meant to them. But they want to end it here and now. Still technically winnable in the most rare scenario. Like Caminito could do it unless Flatty decides to shut them off. Power down. And with this combo starting up, it looks like that's what they want. Jump caught. Immediate up B though gets around the ledge coverage. Charizard is out to play.
For Caminito, I feel like they need some sort of way to take an early stock, and I think Slatty's just playing so clean right now that he's not going to give him that opening because that down air off the start did so much work. Great tech from Caminito to survive, but he's already at 75.
Sending Luma off. Luma's down. Slatty. I feel like the ground game, we saw an Ike completely shut down a Squirtle ground game earlier. I haven't really seen that same thing from Caminito. At best, they had a slight lead. Going for, yeah, that rapid jab down there. They still have the jump. Oh my word. And now there's a Charizard in front of you. Recalls Luma for the pressure in the end. And that's a lot of shield damage, but Flatty holds it true, holds it strong.
So dangerous for these two. You know that if Caminito gets that stock, he's thinking, I've still got a chance, but Slatty trying to end it now, has the opportunity, opts to get rid of Luma. I actually like that play. A lot of kill power comes off the board when Luma's gone.
Yeah, and again, you're a stock up still. You'd rather take the opportunity to fight a Luminous Rosa at the expense of ledge trapping than just leave it to its own devices. You might not know everything that Luma can do. You don't want to leave it alone. Yeah, just take a break. And as soon as Caminito comes back in to save their darling child, whew, able to get the spike. Still technically winnable for Caminito, but no Luma on the field. Down throw now, trying to follow it up with the uppie again like we saw before, but instead just pressure the Razor Leafs. Caminito's spacing was a little bit too clean there. Dash attack sets up the tech chase on the platform, 18%. That's how it starts. But the Nair off the top is going to finish it. Slatty seals off any chance of winning that the George Washington University had. And the University of Colorado continues to reign supreme here in the EGF.
Huge win for University of Colorado. It was very tense, but it goes to show you depth in the roster coming through in spades for Colorado. Slatty, one of these players that I think when you look at Colorado, may not be the most flashy. He may not take the title of anchor all that often, but he has shown up in a big way here in year number 3. So fantastic stuff to him to close out that set.
Yeah. Now, as we are going into, I feel like you said, they really do always play from a lead. This is the second time in a row, and I'll actually ask them if we get a chance to interview, that they have had a massive lead and then just gotten to play off of it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
University of Colorado definitely likes to get that lead early and then play around it. Play around the fact that the other team is mentally struggling. It is definitely a dominant strategy for them, and I can't wait to ask them more about that, as we will get to interview Katsuji in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere. EGF will be back with that interview in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to EGFC. We are here with Katsuji from the victorious University of Colorado. How are you feeling after that win, Katsuji?
Pretty good. I liked how our team played, especially in our first set. It really set the tone, I think, for what our team needed to do.
Yeah, that first set was dominant, and I have noticed a trend of you all really like to play for that super early lead and then play around that. Like, is that a philosophy you follow a lot when trying to pick who goes out first?
I feel like we just play for the matchups that we're most comfortable with. Our team captain does a lot of preparation for us, and he allows us to mix and match with who goes first or who goes last. It's basically just all team play. We try to calculate how many points we can get, like try to maximize how many points we get in a match.
Yeah, and speaking of matchups, let's look at your matchup. You're going up against Jocko, the Terry player for George Washington. What was your mindset going into that matchup?
I was honestly expecting more like, this is gonna sound like kind of mean, but it's like, since we're online, our only practice, or my only practice is with Terry, is like with online Terrys. And I was totally thrown off by that. He was a great player. Like, you can tell, like in the first 20 seconds of our match, I was actually getting bodied by him. but just the in-game adaptations that I made just helped me win, and also that grab at the very end was really nice for me.
Yeah, the way you were able to just instantly swing the momentum of the match, that was just tone setting, especially going into the second half of that. And I do want to ask, because you don't play solely around grab like some Luigis will, but you definitely still have it online. So, like, how do you feel that, like, impacts the mental of your opponents? Like, the fact that you're not always fishing for that grab, but it's always an option.
I use that more. I use, like, the fear factor of grab in the back of my head. Because the one thing that every opponent has going into a Luigi is probably don't get grabbed. So just making sure that I throw out grabs, even if it's like means nothing, like in neutral, it still shows them that I'm still like, hey, I'm looking for this grab. You have to respect that I can throw it out at a good time. So it really just kind of conditions the opponent to go like engage me in the ways that I want to.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that makes sense, and, well, it obviously threw Jacko83 off. It's thrown other players off in the past, including, by the way, I just want to congratulate you on your win last week, too, over Mr. L. Really swinging the match. I mean, that's a big one right there, so good on you for that one.
Thank you.
Actually gonna ask, I mean, a lot of your matchups this year seem to be against some of the, quote-unquote heavy hitters or the anchors for some of these teams. Players like Mr. L, Yosefu. So I guess through 4 weeks, going up against these heavy hitters, how do you feel about, how you've played against some of the higher-ups of the EGF?
First of all, the set against Yosefu, that was like extremely difficult. I definitely had a rough time in that matchup. I don't think I got a single stock actually, but that was more of a wake-up call to me with what my team captain was expecting of me. So after that set, I really like buckled down and made sure that I was able to play at a level that he wanted to, and that kind of showed through with my set versus Mr. L. I was able to take that one game, and then that was like one of the deciding factors with our win over them, because we only won 2 out of the 5 sets that were played, and thanks to Zerosion, definitely bringing home that win. And today, just going back to your question about playing more of the like heavy hitters, I'm definitely excited for more games against them. I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah. And you have definitely been delivering with some really good performances, and I can't wait to see you, more of you on the field. But for now, I think that's about it for the interview. So thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate all the insight you've given us.
Yep, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And with that, we're going to wrap up, but we do have one more game of EGFC tonight, so grab some water, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks, but get back here in just a couple of minutes when we will be getting into the final match of the night for EGFC.